Asian capital. And now, 8 years later, for the 100th race in the series, we're set to race around the Olympic Stadium of an East Asian capital. It was Beijing 8 years ago. Today, it is the 2022 SeoulEprix, the final round of the season. And 2 World Championships are on the line. Nestled here just to the southeast of the centre of the capital of South Korea. And this is how the grid will line up. Alexander Sims has a penalty. He will be at the back of the grid after his crash yesterday. Stanislas Fenestraz is making his debut. He's starting in 21st place. Oliver Rowland was on pole yesterday. He's 18th today. Takoya Porsche are in a fight for 7th in the team's championship. Berline and Lotterer are 15th and 17th on the grid, which is not ideal for them. Mitch Evans is a championship protagonist. He needs to win today and hope Van Dorn doesn't score, but he's down in 13th on the grid. It's going to be a long, long way for him to try and wrap up the title. Just missing out on the top 10 is Oliver Askew. Then it's Sergio Sette-Camera in the Dragon Penske Autosport car. He lines up in 10th on the grid. Just ahead of him is the Nissan Edams of Max Günther. He only has 2 points finishes so far this season. He'll be looking for another to end the year. Jean-Eric Vergne for DS Techeetah is 8th on the grid. The 2-time champion knocked out of title contention yesterday. Dan Ticktum has his best ever qualifying performance. Before this, his best was 13th. He lines up 7th for the Neo 333 team after a very impressive drive. Lucas Di Grassi, podium in the last 2 races. He starts 6th on the grid for Rocket Venturi, who are trying to overhaul Mercedes at the top of the championship. Robin France is 5th for the Envision Racing team. Just ahead of him is Stoffel Van Dorn. If he finishes in the top 7 today, he is the FormulaE world champion, no matter what Mitch Evans does. 3rd on the grid, Jake Dennis won in London 2 weeks ago, and he is looking for another victory this afternoon. 2nd on the grid is Eduardo Mortara. He, along with Di Grassi, in that fight to try and win the team's championship for Venturi. And on pole position is the DS Techeetah of Antonio Felix da Costa, the Portuguese racer, the champion of Season 6. And they too are in a fight for the team's standings. They could get 2nd place, but Mitch Evans is a long, long way back. He was pretty chilled on the grid, saying, I wasn't really in contention coming into this weekend anyway, but it's still going to be frustrating after the high of winning the race yesterday. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me in commentary is the 3-time Indy 500 champion, 4-time IndyCar champion, Dario Franchitti. Long road ahead for Mitch Evans.
Oh, absolutely, Jack. And he's got to have maximum risk today. Just attack any opportunity he can get. Hope the race pace is in that Jaguar car and get up the front and try and win that race. But it's not all home and dry for Stoffel Van Dorn, because the Mercedes guys have got to race. If they want to win the team's championship, which is one that actually pays all the prize money, millions of dollars in prize money, or millions of euros in this case, they have got to race. Because the Venturi and the team are trying to take the top spot from them. Venturi have got to race because DS Techeetah are trying to get to 2nd for them. So much to play for. So many. There's the one big plot, which is the Drivers' World Championship, but so many subplots too.
This is the look around the stadium section. The cars are leaving the dummy grid and making their way now towards the start line. Stoffel Van Dorn, 4th on the grid. Championship-wise, as I say, Van Dorn in the top 7, he is the champion. Evans needs to win and hope that Van Dorn finishes 8th or lower. That's the permutations. Teams championship-wise, it's more complex, but Mercedes EQ lead Venturi by 31 points. But Venturi have cars in 2nd and 6th. Mercedes are in 4th and 12th. So that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye out on. It's then only 13 points back to DS Techeetah behind them. So we'll keep you up to date with all of the standings and the permutations as we go. But aside from that, Dario, everybody just wants to win a race. They just want to win the final race. There's the last race of the season. Yep. There are other championship positions on the line, but it's kind of pride more than anything else, even if you're not involved in the championship fight.
Absolutely right. And there's guys out there, as you said, just the pride of winning a race. Everybody wants to win the race. End the season on a high. They can carry that all the way through to Mexico City next January. But there's drivers just driving for their job today. With this grid, I cannot tell you how different it is going to look next year with drivers in different cars, different teams. Drivers coming in from outside, so there's a lot on the line today, especially for that man there, Ian James. His smartwatch told him earlier that he was stressed, and I don't doubt it. It might have ticked over a little bit onto whatever one above stressed is right now.
2 World Championships on the line. Last year, that car, number 17, Nick de Vries, he was the driver's champion. Mercedes EQ were the team's champion as well. Can they repeat that with Van Dorn and the team? Evans is actually behind de Vries on the grid, so that could be an interesting one if they start to get feisty. Van Dorn has pulled up into position, 4th place, looking to win his first championship since the 2014 GP2 Series title, Stoffel Van Dorn, and this would be the biggest championship win of his career.
Very slow coming into up onto the start grid.
Evans doing a burnout in order to get some temperature into those rear tyres so that when the lights go out and they charge down towards turn 1, he can get as good a getaway as possible. Delphine Biscay, team manager at Venturi. You saw from that shot a moment ago that this is Olympic way. The road usually goes both ways, but we've closed one side. You've got the regular traffic on the other side. Alexander Sims is just crawling into position at the back. 45 minutes plus 1 lap of racing about to get underway. 2 World Championships on the line. Da Costa is on pole. Mortara is alongside him on the front row of the grid. Van Dorn in 4th could win the championship. And some people are in the wrong places on the grid by the looks of things. Sasha Fenestraz, it looks like Lotter has gone to the wrong side potentially. So they're trying to move around in order to get into position.
He should be behind his teammate, Pascal Wehrlein, in the other Tag Heuer Porsche.
It looks like they are pretty much in position now. Here we go. Da Costa on pole, Mortara alongside him. Van Dorn is 4th on the grid. Evans needs to make his way up from 13th on the grid in order to win the championship. One more time this season. We go green in Seoul. Very good getaway from Da Costa at the front. Moves over, covers the inside line. Jake Dennis in the red and white Andretti goes to the outside of Mortara. They bang wheels a little bit. Someone comes steaming in. That's Gunther on the attack as they go side by side down towards turn 1. Again, Dennis looking to the inside. Gunther is fully on the attack. Up the inside of Degrassi. Tixem gets hit. Lot of contact in the middle there. Everybody in the end makes it through. Tixem gets hit again by Degrassi. Tixem ended up getting into 6th position. Someone almost fed into the wall. Gunther is on an absolute mission, and now he's hit Degrassi. And that is bad news for the Rocket Venturi team, because I think Degrassi, is he still going? He is just about. Now side by side between Evans and Jean-Eric Verne. Those two trying to get through the chicane. They come into the stadium section after a robust opening few corners. Da Costa still leads the way. The top 5 are broken clear. Then it's Tixem. Then it's still Degrassi. And then it is Askew up into 8th. Gunther 9th. Sergio Sette Camera 10th. Max Gunther often full attack. That was extremely full attack.
Stoffel Van Dorn avoided all that. He's still in 4th place, as you say, Jack. The top 4 pulled away. Mitch Evans, 12th position so far. He's made 1 spot up.
Here they come out onto the back straight, and Da Costa is having to cover the inside a little bit from Eduardo Mortara. Through the right-hander of turn 20, and now down into the next right-hander of turn 22. Evans is on the tower on the left-hand side if you want to keep an eye on his progress. Mortara almost getting Da Costa for the lead. Dennis is getting involved in that fight as well. There you can see the gap from all the robust attacking. Verne to the inside, coming into 22. Think he managed to get the move done on Sergio Sette Camera. He did. He's up into 10th place now, Jean-Eric Verne. But Da Costa leads. That's the end of the lap there. And now we're in turns 2, 3 and 4. And again, keep your eye on Mitch Evans, see how much progress he can make on the bottom left. But it is Da Costa leading, Mortara 2nd, Dennis 3rd, Van Dorn 4th, Freinz in 5th. We're on board here with Evans.
Evans got to be a bit frustrated already. You see the Dragon Penske with damage ahead of him.
Has to win this race, Mitch Evans, and hopes that Van Dorn is 8th or lower.
And he should have a performance advantage on the Dragon Penske ahead of him. But having a performance advantage and getting past, 2 very different things.
Da Costa leading the way. Mortara, that is Van Dorn. That's Dan Tixem, who's now joined the fight in the Neo. 6th place at the moment for Dan Tixem. The only time Neo have scored points this year was in the Romy Prix in rainy conditions where barely anyone finished, and then everyone got loads of penalties afterwards.
Mortara all over the back of Da Costa. The watch for making a move. Coming down to turn 2021. See who gets off here well. Da Costa a little bit heavy in the way in. Mortara able to keep it more neat and tidy.
How hard is Da Costa going to fight? He covers the inside. He's pretty keen, and Mortara tries to dummy. Full send. Great move from Mortara, and Dennis might take both of them. Mortara sweeps across, covers the inside, holds the lead of the E-Prix, and now Van Dorn is on the attack to the outside of Da Costa, but he doesn't want to get too muddled up in incidents there. That was a fantastic overtake from Eduardo Mortara.
How late on the brakes was Mortara, and he had to surprise Da Costa because Da Costa was defending heavily. But yeah, going back, you'd have to say right now, Mercedes EQ drivers got to be so careful.
Evans is up into 10th place in
Van
the
Dorn
Jaguar.
Stopped. Van Dorn, okay, there's a mistake. I was going to say, I see him.
Yeah, he's disappeared. Look,
Give me a heart attack there.
But he's there. You can see him with his eyes, luckily.
Sorry for the heart attack. Stop Van Dorn fans.
The tower on the left has him down in 19th place, but he is still there in 4th position as they come through the left-hander now at turn 16. That's Freintz running in 5th position at the moment. We're on board with Freintz. He is in 5th because Van Dorn's transponder has stopped working seemingly for the moment.
Evans up to 10th already. Look at the damage to the mirror. Robin Freitz's left mirror. Something's hit that already.
I think Evans is 11th at the moment. Van Dorn is back in the timing screen now, so we've managed to fix that. But as I say that, Evans gets ahead of Gunter, so he is up into 10th position. This is Nick de Vries on the attack, trying to get past Da Costa. Sete Camera. Here's Van Dorn's radio.
Flippy surface, turn 17.
Oh, Tickton pitting. Tickton pitting from 7th place. That's a shame. That's a lunge. That is, and that's a lunge as well. Sete Camera really has got so much damage there, he could do with parking it. Here's a replay of the start. Now watch, it was all pretty even at the front. Max Gunter in the red and black Nissan goes to the inside here and just fully sends it, and then does it at the next few corners as well. And here goes Gunter up the inside of 3 of them.
Yeah, and Gunter caused a lot of that shunt, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, every 3 into that corner does not go. So tight through there, and you see some damage to the Porsche. Mitch Evans trying to take advantage here, but then it stops in a hurry. He did well not to get more damage to his Jaguar. Some damage to Oliver Askew's and Avalanche Andretti ahead.
Jean-Eric Verne's view. That was ambitious stuff from Gunter. De Grassi was caught in the middle. Gunter still tried to hang it on around the outside. Here we go then. Mortara leading the way. At the moment, Mercedes EQ would win the championship in the teams by 10 points. The Estachita still in 3rd. 39 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis 2nd, Da Costa 3rd, Van Dorn 4th. We're on board with Stoffel Van Dorn in 4th position as we come down towards turn 22. Into the right-hander and out across the line to start another lap. I think there's a bit of debris at turn 17. That's why you keep seeing the yellow flag signal pop up, but nobody has stopped out there. Mortara is leading. There's Mitch Evans. He is in 9th place now, so he's made some good progress, but he is 7.4 seconds off Mortara in the lead of the race. And as it stands, Van Dorn would win the Drivers' Championship, and Mitch Evans would finish in 2nd place, some 31 points behind. In fact, Mortara would only be 6 points off the back of Evans, so that's still a fight that Mortara could win if Evans ends up slipping. No, because Evans is in 9th place, so I don't think Mortara can catch him, can he? So Mortara, Dennis, Da Costa, the top 3. Van Dorn winning the championship as it stands. Through the left-hander we go at the SeoulEprix.
And the yellow is still being waved at 17. It must be a little bit of debris, as you say,
Yeah,
Jack.
I think it's just there on the right-hand side.
So the group with Mitch Evans in it, they were delayed in that bit of action at turn 1, lap 1, and that's allowed that gap of, as you say, Jack, right now 8 seconds to develop. So Mitch Evans really needs a safety car to bunch the whole field up to make further progress.
He's gained 4 places, Mitch Evans. So has Oliver Askew, so has Pascal Wehrlein. Da Costa's lost 2 off the start because he began on pole position. There is Evans running in 9th position now. Jean-Eric Verne is his next target, but he's got to come through to win the race if he wants to win the World Championship.
And Verne's not going to be an easy guy to pass. The further up the field you get, the harder they are to pass, and that's then you've got to take into account the balance shift as the tyres wear. Whose car works better at the start might not work better at the end. You've got to almost set the car with the front of the car sliding a bit, so as the race goes on and the rear tyres wear out, the car comes into more of a nice balance. And we haven't even talked about attack mode yet.
No, absolutely. So at the moment they are 10 points back. Robin Freintz activates his attack mode then, so You have to use it twice during the course of the E-Prix attack mode. It gives you a 13% power boost for 4 minutes. And as I say, you have to use it twice. France goes early. And you use attack mode today to attack, because you don't lose too much ground by activating it. So it's not one of those where you want to get rid of it as soon as possible. It's you want to use it to try and make progress through the order. Just on the teams championship, De Grassi and Van Dorn, at the moment it's 10 points between Mercedes at the top and Venturi in second. So if De Grassi can get ahead of Van Dorn, then that would be enough, pretty much, to clinch the teams championship for Venturi. But there are a couple of places between them, but there are 36 minutes to go. There is De Grassi, who's quite a long way actually off the back, and he got quite heavily involved in the crunching down at the first corner. Ticktum, Rowland and Lotterer out of the race. There is Evans, who saw his championship hopes disappear at the end of last season after stalling on the grid. Andre Lotterer has been given a drive-through penalty.
Still attack this lap.
So Van Dorn being told, take attack mode on this lap. We'll see what Da Costa does. France is pretty close to the back of him, but you lose about half a second, 6/10 of a second, as they come through the right-hander, and they all go for it, and France gets up alongside, but not able to make the move stick. So Da Costa and Van Dorn both in attack mode now, and France will be in it for a lap less, basically.
So if you're Van Dorn, you're in fourth right now. De Grassi comes up.
Sorry, De Vries is just dropping down the order a little
And
bit.
a yellow at turn 4.
So Nick De Vries might be in a bit of trouble, and that's not good for Mercedes EQ's championship hopes. And we'll see what happens there. And Verline's out.
Okay.
So Verline's out too.
Do we have a problem with the transponder De Vries as well? He's only got the 14th though.
No, he did a 36-1 in the first sector, lost 6 seconds in sector 1, Nick De Vries. So that has knocked him potentially out of the helping of Mercedes EQ to try and win the team's championship. Mortara, Dennis, Da Costa the top 3, but Da Costa, Van Dorn and France all in attack mode and all right together in that fight for third place. He's crabbing so badly.
Yeah, look at
has been in something.
left rear thing. Left rear is pointing. Look at it, it's pointing at the wrong angle. Yeah.
So De Vries is done, the reigning champion, and that's not good for the team's championship.
Box this lap. We're going to change the tyre and have a good look at the suspension before releasing you.
Not sure you.
That's super crabby though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. If that breaks, it's going to be a big old shunt. But that's put more pressure on Stoffel Van Dorn to consider the team's championship as well as obviously his driver's championship.
Here's a look at what happened with okay, so Verline and De Vries getting into each other at turn 1, and that's what caused damage to both of the cars, and Verline ultimately pulling off the circuit. Tough day for the Porsche team, and that's actually really good news for Jake Dennis and the Andretti squad. De Vries is in the pits, but if Dennis finishes 5th and neither Porsche score, which it doesn't look like they will, then if you look, Avalanche Andretti, bottom right, will move up to 6th in the team's championship, which is huge for them. Venturi are now just 9 points back from Mercedes EQ in the team's championship, with Van Dorn in 4th, De Grassi in 6th position.
Van Dorn putting a lot of pressure on Da Costa in the black and gold Tachita ahead of him.
At the moment, Mortara is disappearing. He's 1.8 seconds ahead of Jake Dennis, who's doing very well to hold on ahead of Da Costa in 3rd spot.
Nick De Vries out of the car.
Vries out of the car and out of the race.
France has put lots of pressure on Van Dorn, isn't he? Just looking for any opening.
He's just run out of attack mode, Robin France in 5th position. Mortara activates his attack mode for the first time. Evans is still running in 9th place and not making much progress. De Grassi activates his attack mode in 6th position. Evans activates his in 9th. So it's only France in the top 9 that is now out of attack mode because he took his a lap earlier than everybody else. As Evans comes through the left-hander.
So De Grassi's got to use that attack mode to close the gap now. Robin Freins ahead of him. He's 2.5 seconds behind Robin Freins.
De Vries out of the car. With 32 minutes left on the clock. Mortara leading. Da Costa 3rd, Van Dorn 4th, France in 5th. We've got 32 minutes plus 1 lap to go in the SeoulEprix. The The final race of the 8th season of the ABB FIA FormulaE World Championship, and at the moment Mitch Evans will not be winning the title. He's down in 9th place and he needs to win if he wants to win the championship. At the moment it's going to go the way of Stoffel Vandoorne in the Mercedes EQ, the number 5 car here.
Control. We have a car stopped, driver's left, turn 4. I'm going to leave that car there and drop the yellow flags. Please be aware that that car is going to stay in that position for the remainder of the race.
So I think that's Verlijn's car, so it's off the road at turn 4, but it's off at the side of the track, so they're going to remove the yellow flag zone. 31 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis is second. 1.3 seconds between them, but then I'm surprised how, not little pace as we see Mortara and Dennis come through, but how much pressure Da Costa has been under. Freitz is, as soon as Freitz is out of attack mode, he drops back a long way. At lap 10, Vandoorne would win the championship, Evans in second, Mortara in third. Da Costa would be up to 5th in the standings, getting ahead of Lucas Di Grassi. Di Grassi got ahead of Da Costa yesterday. Da Costa would be getting back at him today, but it's Mortara who leads in the black Rocket Venturi down into turn 22.
Yeah, Di Grassi's, I don't think his race is over yet. I expect, we've seen him work some miracles from the back before, so let's see how much pressure he can put on again with that team's championship to play for. On board with Stoffel Vandoorne, driver's eye view. The camera is literally right next to his left eye. Look as he turns through the corner how difficult it is to actually position the car because of the covers over the front wheels. This is turn 4 where you see the yellow flag, the car parked over to the left. You see on this dashboard as well, actually. Then we'll go back into the stadium, down the ramp. Completely different surface, not very high grip, the surface in the stadium, but lovely and smooth.
You can see the Evans on board on the tower on the left as Chills tries to chase on Jean-Eric Verne. In fact, both of our onboards are trying to get ahead of the DS Techeetah in front.
And the DS Techeetahs are not going to make things difficult, or not going to make things easy, because they want to finish second in the team's championship. And as you said earlier, Jack, just pride as well. Nobody's given up anything for any other driver out there.
As it stands, Venturi would hold on to seconds in the team's championship and actually close in a little bit on Mercedes at the top, but we've still got a lot of racing to unfold here. Mortara's lead is... Mortara and Dennis are driving away from the field. I'm really surprised at the pace of Da Costa here. Really surprised.
A bit of a roadblock right now, isn't he, for Vandoorne? But again, Vandoorne's not going to take those big risks that he normally would.
Evans is attacking Jean-Eric Verne here. He's in attack mode. Mitch Evans, he's not close enough. Coming down into turn 22, and he's only got 25 seconds of attack mode remaining.
I don't see from this next part of the lap, with those next 25 seconds, I don't think there's anywhere he can make a move.
Everybody has done their first attack mode activation. And in fact, only Cassidy and Sete Camera are still in attack mode now. And they've all got a second one to use before the end of the E-Prix. Back into the stadium section again. Here comes Evans, doing his best to try and make his way up the order, right on the back of Jean-Eric Verne.
Looks like the back of the Jaguar was sliding a bit through turn 11. That's not great this early in the race. Start overheating those rear tyres. It's very difficult, because then it becomes difficult obviously to do a fast lap time, but also difficult to save energy. Then you have to start doing more regeneration, going a bit slower, and it's a vicious circle from there.
And that is one of the things that the teams were most concerned about really this afternoon, is the rear tyres, because of the non-stop right-hander in the stadium section. Puts a lot of load through it. De Vries has been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with Pascal Wehrlein, but obviously De Vries is out of the race, so that won't affect him too much. Wehrlein out of the race also. 28 minutes plus 1 lap to go. As you can see, Sims and Turvey have still got their 2 attack modes to use. Everybody else just has 1 left. So Vandoorne was on the back of Da Costa, and still is. Freitz was on the back of the both of them, but he's dropped back a little now.
Yeah, Di Grassi hasn't really caught Robin Freitz too much. I'm kind of surprised about that. Shout out to Oliver Askew and the Avalanche Andretti. 7th place at the moment for him. That's good news.
Yeah, it's been a huge haul of points for Andretti in the final few races. To get ahead of Porsche is a phenomenal achievement if they do manage to pull it off. Here comes Da Costa and Vandoorne still fighting over 3rd place. These two also getting on fairly well, as here comes Da Costa and Van Dorn through the left-hander of turn 16 and out onto the back straight.
Mortara's just continues to drive away.
Yeah.
0.2 of a second that lap again, just metronomic in his precision. And
well, that's 0.2 on Dennis, and then Dennis is 0.2 on Da Costa and Van Dorn.
Yeah, Van Dorn looks like he's setting up, but he's just not quite close enough. Antonio Felix Da Costa in the black and gold Tachitas just very good at a turn 19. What have you spotted, Jack?
Askew's got Di Grassi. Askew now is ahead of Di Grassi. Di Grassi drops down to 7th position, and has Di Grassi got trouble here? I think he does. He's pulling over to the right-hand side. Verne is to the outside, and Di Grassi is out.
Huge championship implications for the team's championship. Massive.
Di Grassi out of the running as he returns to the pit lane. He's got a puncture. Di Grassi has a puncture and returns to the pits. Comes into the pit lane now. They'll change whichever. It's the front right puncture. Is it? They're waiting before they change it. At the moment, you can see that the gap at the championship top would go up to 16 points. And so with Van Dorn in 4th, I think that's kind of insurmountable, really, for the Venturi team if Di Grassi is out of the running.
Absolutely. That's their total right now. They're in the best position with one car, and the other car's not scoring points today.
Front right puncture for Lucas Di Grassi has eliminated him from the running, so that means that the 31-point advantage is insurmountable if Di Grassi is not running. So that would give Mercedes EQ that advantage. But now I wonder if that would bring DS Tachita into the fight for 2nd place.
Jack has his calculator out, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Worrying time.
There through attack mode goes Sasha Fenestraz, who's making his debut in FormulaE this weekend because Antonio Giovinazzi hurt his hand yesterday and as a result is replaced by Sasha Fenestraz for this race. But Van Dorn it is, who's in 4th position, who would win the championship as it stands because Evans is down in, well, 8th place now. So he's gained a place in all of that, Mitch Evans, because of Di Grassi coming in to repair his puncture. And Da Costa and Van Dorn still right together. Yeah,
and Evans used the 2nd attack mode. He's going to have to use it to his benefit, though, and try and get past Jean-Eric Verne. It's just not happened so far.
So, the Estachita, yeah, so they're still not really close enough to stop Rocket Venturi at the moment. That 3rd and 7th place is not quite enough to get to Mortara.
Neither car looks particularly sporty right now. They're both under pressure, aren't they? Da Costa's under pressure from Van Dorn.
Oh, Gunter is the next retirement.
Doing a great job, mate. Keep looking after them rears.
Those rear tyres is the message from Stephen Lane. This could throw a spanner in the works, though, because he's pulled off at the side of the circuit here, Max Gunter, and the safety car is deployed. Safety car deployed.
This is huge. I thought it was going to be full course yellow. This is huge. This bunches the field back up. If it's full course yellow, they all keep to the same speed and keep the gaps they had. This is massive.
And Evans is going to lose 2 minutes of attack mode, though, in his 2nd attack mode. So it'll help him by bunching the field up, but he's going to lose the time that he's got in attack mode at the extra power. So that's a bit of frustration for Mitch Evans, but it will bunch the field back up a little bit. And all that advantage that Mortara and Dennis had built up at the front is going to disappear. But energy-wise, they're doing great. Mortara 54% and out the front. Here's Gunter's replay, and he... Oh, the front right's broken.
Yeah, he's hit. I think he's hit something earlier. Maybe it was one of the earlier laps and finally failed. Yeah, something's caused that.
Yeah, had a robust opening few laps, Max Gunter.
Let's respect the marshals on track there between turn 19.
The voice of Scott Elkins, race director.
Scott Elkins, the race director. They're going to push Gunter. Well, they're going to scrape him along the wall because he can't steer. So that's a frustration. They're also going to get rid of Verline's car as well, as we're under safety car. Max Gunter, they're trying to recover the car. The Nissan driver out of the running. Only 2 points finishes so far this season. Here's where we're at Drivers' Championship-wise. Van Dorn would win the championship. Evans and Mortara would be 2nd and 3rd. And Da Costa and Dennis would both get ahead of Lucas Di Grassi. So Jake Dennis would be up into 6th place. Mortara finished last season 2nd in the standings, didn't he? I believe. It's interesting how it's kind of similar front runners to last year. Last year it was Mortara second, Dennis third, Evans fourth.
We've had a new qualifying format this year, which has been a great success, and it's meant that the fastest guys have been up the front and racing each other every week. So therefore, they've scored a lot more points. And those days we had last year, a lot of times the championship contenders were outside the top 10. This year, if you want to win the championship,
just make sure we stay within 10 car lengths.
If you want to win the championship, you've got to score big points. Yeah, part of the rules, you've got to stay within 10 car lengths of the car in front under safety car. The last thing Stoffel Van Dorn in that Mercedes EQ needs is a penalty right now.
So it looks as though they were looking to just wheel Gunter's car back, but with the broken steering, they're actually not able to push it back. So I think they're going to have to recover both of those cars. And difficult day for Max Gunter. He went full attack in the early stages, as he often does, and whether it was that or a different incident, he is out of the race now. There's a bit of debris. That was the debris at turn 17 that we saw on occasion as well. Van Dorn is being told on the radio by his team that they think Da Costa was saving his tyres, and that's why he was sort of running at that kind of pace, which is quite interesting. But we'll see. Mortara out in front, Dennis Da Costa the top three. Is this going to help everybody's tyres because the temperatures come back down? Because is it temperature rather than wear?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the tyre wear is not a concern, really. You'll see them at the end of a race that there's not much tread length, but that doesn't affect performance. It's just pure temperature. And yeah, this will be lovely for the tyres. Just give them a little break. We're going to add time to the race, though. Yeah, it's not like this is all, you know, the race. I think as we run under safety car, time will be added back to the race. But yeah, it's usual story with the safety car. Helped a couple of guys out. Just look at the back, sorry, of the Jaguar. Mitch Evans, looks like the diffuser in the back of the car is moving around a little bit.
Well, he was involved in a real sandwich up at the front, wasn't he, in that opening lap? This is the 100th FormulaE race, the first happening in September 2014 in Beijing, which Lucas Di Grassi won, and he's not going to finish this one. The 50th race was in Hong Kong, which Eduardo Mortara won, and now the 100th race here in Seoul looks to be Mortara's in the box seat at the moment. I'm not giving him the trophy. But Gunter frustrated.
The point about Da Costa saving his tyres, we've seen when the tyre does go off, it doesn't happen sort of gradually. You get a little wear and then boom, it's gone and the car starts sliding around. Same thing with the battery temperature. When it gets close and when it eventually you get too hot, you're done. And you go backwards in a hurry.
So frustrating for Jake Dennis, I think, this safety car, because he built up a very big gap up the front. Mortara is in the Venturi, which is a Mercedes powertrain, which is probably the best car in the field, whereas Dennis is, and here's the Fan Boost Awards, they all get a 5-second power boost in the second half of the race. Mortara, Da Costa, Van Dorn, Evans and Di Grassi. But my point was going to be
the efficiency of the Andretti.
Yes, the efficiency of the Andretti has been a bit tricky at points this year, so Dennis now might be under a bit more pressure than he would have been otherwise now that the safety car has been deployed. But he might run absolutely fine also.
Yeah, depending if Da Costa now thinks, because you know we're past halfway in the race, he thinks, okay, I'm saving my tyres, time to attack. Then yeah, I think Jake Dennis is going to have his mirrors full of a black and gold Techeetah that's pushing along with his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne to get up to second in the team's championship.
Van Dorn, Evans, Mortara the top three, and it would be Van Dorn who wins the championship for Mercedes EQ. Vergne and Da Costa separated by just a few points, and Dennis up into 6th place. Da Costa would drop, Di Grassi would drop down the order, and Evans running around in 8th position at the moment.
Evans opening his visor, trying to get some cool air in there.
Very humid.
That's an understatement.
South Korea, fairly humid. I've been in the aircon for what, 25 minutes now?
34.
No, more than that. Yeah, I've been in the aircon for 34 minutes and my shirt is still sopping wet. So stay tuned if you want to see that on camera after the end of the race. Teams championship-wise, Mercedes EQ at the top, and they would win the team's championship as well. Venturi second, D'Estacita third. Avalanche Andretti would be up to sixth. They only need to outscore Porsche by 10 points to do that, so a fifth place with Porsche scoring no points would be all that was required. But they've got Askew in sixth and Dennis in second, so a really strong performance from Avalanche Andretti. Team's championship still up for grabs. If Van Dorn were to, well, it's more Venturi and D'Estacita, because that points advantage for Mercedes is now insurmountable, because Di Grassi he's not out of the race. He's there in 14th, but
this has also helped him because he stayed on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's true. So he's not completely out of the running, Di Grassi. So the team's championship is not completely over because he's still out there.
But that 31-point lead they have, that would require Stoffel Van Dorn not to finish. Obviously, De Vries is already out of the running.
That's the thing. They would need Di Grassi to get up into about 6th or 7th position, and then Van Dorn not to finish if Venturi want to win the team's championship. As they come down the back straight, safety car still out. You can see Porsche would drop down to 7th position. Penske would pick up another point with Sete Camera running in 10th place. Here's Van Dorn's radio.
We're happy for you to use Fan Boost if you see an opportunity.
Plenty of action here in the Jamshil Sports Complex. That's the baseball stadium there on the left-hand side, home to the LG Twins and the Doosan Bears. They play in the KBO League of Korean baseball. 15 minutes plus 1 lap remaining, but time will get extended. The race will get extended when the safety car comes in at the end of the race. We'll go into added time. Mortara still leading. Dennis, Da Costa, Van Dorn, Freitz, the top 5.
And added time, 45 seconds for every minute under safety car. Safety car in this lap, so all of a sudden the drivers are thinking, right, get the tyres clean, get the brakes back up to temperature, use a little bit of energy, get ready to go.
Here we go then. Mortara in the lead. Dennis in second position. Lights off on the Porsche safety car. Mortara, Da Costa, Van Dorn all have fan boost to use. Jake Dennis doesn't, in second place. And how will Mortara run this restart as well? I think he's gonna, I thought he might be going quite early then, Mortara, but decides against it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Down into turn 22.
That would be early.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, we're only at 20, aren't we? Apologies. So that's why he's let the safety car go. Weaving from left to right. There will be added time.
Green flag.
In 8th place. Mortara weaving. As they come down towards turn 22.
When part of the track, the guy's waving the green flag. He's gone.
There goes Mortara. Foot to the floor. Gets the racing back underway. 13 minutes plus a lap to go, plus whatever added time we have. And it'll be Mortara leading, Dennis second, Da Costa third, 4th is Van Dorn, 5th is Freitz, 6th is Askew, 7th is Verne, 8th is Evans, 9th is Cassidy, 10th is Sergio Sete Camera.
Nothing doing into turn 1, everybody sort of playing nice at the moment. You see Mitch Evans, same thing, he's still stuck in that 8th position.
They're on board with Evans on the tower on the left-hand side. Mortara has got a great little getaway, hasn't he? And pulled about 7/10 of a second on Jake Dennis in second position, and it goes straight into attack mode, as does Da Costa. Van Dorn trying to stick it around the outside, can't get it done. So that was the plan for Mortara and the Venturi team, and Mortara has activated his attack mode. Now is Da Costa going to be close enough to attack Jake Dennis here? He's very, very close as they come through turn 18. Big chance here for Da Costa to get second place.
I think Jack, if he's going to do it, it's going to be coming out of so that's 19 up to double right-hander 2021. You can see Da Costa looking, but I think it's going to be on the brakes into 22 this next corner. So Da Costa's got to get off here, turn 21 well, and set up for the pass.
Battle for second. Da Costa to the outside. Dennis leaves his nose in. A bit of a touch, and where's Da Costa gone? Has Da Costa fully gone off?
I think he has.
Da Costa's fully gone off. Dennis only gave him a tiny touch, but enough to send Da Costa all the way to the back of the field. And that's going to be so frustrating for D'Estacita. Dennis in second place. He might potentially be getting a penalty for that as well. Mortara leads, Dennis second, Van Dorn now is up in the third spot.
Yeah, we need to see that one again, don't we? That was didn't look that bad. It just looked both leaning on each other, but unless we didn't see something off camera there, because that was the result was huge.
All that means Mortara pulls the lead. Dennis gets into his attack mode now. So he's in second place. Van Dorn in third, Frost in fourth. Here's a look at it again. So Da Costa goes to the outside, and Dennis basically tries to defend and keep his nose there, and Da Costa...
So far, so good. Bit of a... he got a slide on, over and corrected to the left, and then couldn't get the lock off.
Yeah, well, he got the slide because of the hit.
But yeah, I understand, but watch the steering. So steering goes in, goes to the left.
Yeah.
Can't get it.
I was more than happy to give up the corner. He just left me no space.
I mean, Dennis... That's a tough one. Because Dennis really got squeezed there, honestly.
Yeah, that was a hard penalty. You see Sergio Setti camera in the red and white Dragon got some damage.
He's had that since lap one when he went up the back of whoever was in front of him. I can't even remember, it was so long ago.
Still on the points.
Yeah.
Up to ninth.
He's just overtaken Buemi.
Buemi was behind him earlier. No, Buemi's been behind him.
Because it's Da Costa, that's how he's got him in the ninth place. 10.5 minutes plus a lap to go, but there will be added time at the end as well. Dennis is in attack mode. Van Dorn in third, Freitz in fourth, Askew in fifth, Verne in sixth. The Da Costa-Dennis incident is under investigation. It's tough because Da Costa was the one making the overtake around the outside. Van Dorn into attack mode now, stays ahead of Robin Freitz.
I hate to say it's a racing incident, but that's a tough one.
I think racing incidents...
Yeah, as I say, the problem was that Da Costa had all this left lock on to correct the slide from that contact. Couldn't get the lock off quickly enough when the car sort of bit and turned left on him.
Yeah, really tough on that. 10 minutes plus 1 lap to go, plus added time. Van Dorn in third, Freitz in fourth, Askew in fifth. We'll see whether...
Evans in the background, Jack seventh place, all over the back of Jean-Eric Verne in the black and gold Techeetah.
Evans has used his second attack mode. As they come across the line now, Van Dorn would still win the championship by 30 points ahead of Mitch Evans. Evans still needs to climb up the field and win the race and hope that Van Dorn fails to finish, but with not that long to go, it's looking less and less doable, and Van Dorn is running in third position at the moment.
It's not easy, you can see, just catching a snap of oversteer, and the walls are there. There's no room for error. None, Stoffel Van Dorn could be lead the race. There's absolutely the slightest error, and it is all over. That's obviously the same for everybody out there. It's such a difficult thing these guys are doing, bouncing over all the different bumps, the surface changes.
Verne into his second attack mode, and manages to just about keep ahead of Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy, who's now up into 8th position. Evans running there in 7th spot. There goes Dennis, there goes Van Dorn, there goes Freitz. And there's the championship as it stands. Dennis would get up into 5th place because Da Costa would be shuffled down after that collision. De Grassi would be back up into 6th position. Come down into turn 20. And there's a look at the Jamsil Sports Complex, a really great venue for this race here in Seoul. First ever Formula E race in South Korea, and the final race of the year, and at the moment Stoffel Van Dorn would be ending it as champion.
So the energy figures, Sim's got the most, but up front, all very similar.
Verne's a little low compared to everybody else. Freitz is probably the most, but broadly speaking, they are pretty similar. And Eduardo Mortara, I mean, he was telling me on the grid, the last 4 races have just been a disaster, basically.
Yeah, they have.
And he just wants to end the season on a high. Last 5 races, actually, for Mortara have been a disaster.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to make amends a bit for yesterday. It was kind of the architect of his own destruction yesterday, with heavy defending from Jean-Eric Verne, and basically pulled across the front of Jean-Eric Verne when Verne was lunging down the inside, kept moving on the brakes, and Verne had nowhere to go. Created a puncture for Mortara, but Mortara is more than making up for it today with this just phenomenal drive.
Freitz and Askew both activate their second attack mode, and so they're still running in 4th and 5th places. Evans is really close to the back of Jean-Eric Verne, even though he's not in attack mode, but he doesn't have a attack mode, so you can see in a straight line speed, Verne is able to pull away. Cassidy might be on the attack here. No, he's not quite close enough. The two New Zealanders who grew up racing together at Manfield and places like that.
Everything's good, so no risks.
Everything's good, so no risks is the message to Stoffel Vandoorne. 6.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
That's good, clear, concise information from the engineer. Cannot be misinterpreted.
Vandoorne out of his attack mode, but Freitz is 2 seconds behind him. We're on board with Verne, looking back at Mitch Evans.
Look how close Mitch Evans is getting to those apex walls, just trying to get every mile an hour of speed out of that Jaguar car.
6 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis is second, Vandoorne is third. Running very nicely up at the front, the top three. Freitz in fourth, as you can see, a couple of seconds further back. Vandoorne would win the championship as it stands by 30 points over Mitch Evans in what has been an incredibly consistent season for the Belgian driver. And for my money, he was driver of the season last season, but he finished nowhere near the top of the championship. And now he's had another great year, but this time getting the points and the rewards.
If he can bring this one home, absolutely, driver of the season. He's massive. You know, he would just fully deserve the Formula E World Championship. I'd argue last year, I think Mitch Evans, you know, had done a tremendous job too. This year, though, Stoffel Vandoorne, he's been, you know, the win in Monaco was fantastic, but he's made the most every weekend of what he had. He's going to make the most of this weekend. He's going to make the most of today, though. Keep the thing between the walls.
Teams Championship at the moment, Mercedes EQ on 316 points. Venturi would finish second with Tachita third. Avalanche Andretti would be up into 6th place in the standings as they come over the crest and then into the left-hander at turn 16. Vandoorne continuing to chase Dennis. Mortara's just disappeared again. This performance from Mortara has just been absolutely superb. Dominant performance from the Italian-Swiss racer as he comes down into turn number 22 and then out through turn 1 again. Love that wall shot. But Mortara leads. Then it is Jake Dennis in second in the red and white Andretti. Third is Stoffel Vandoorne in the silver Mercedes EQ. The green car is Robin Freitz in fourth. Oliver Askew in fifth for the Andretti team. And then it is Verne, Evans and Cassidy, Boemi and that Sete Camera running in 10th place. De Grassi has managed to recover up into 13th place. Now, another 6 minutes and 45 seconds of added time. Because of the time spent behind the safety car, we've got another 6 minutes and 45 seconds once the clock ticks down to 0. Plus 1 lap then. So still a long way to go. Nato and Sete Camera, it's under investigation. Multiple changes of direction at turn 1, so that'll be for Sete Camera's defensive manoeuvres, for which he's come under a lot of heat so far this season.
Yeah, we've seen that video before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Again, energy figures all looking very similar up at the sharp end.
If anything, Sete Camera looks a little lower than people, and Sims has got quite a bit. Turby activates his second attack mode. Sims is in 12th place, you know. He's not actually too far away from getting some points, which would be quite a performance, having started at the back of the grid and having had a drive-through penalty for changing parts.
He had a 60-place penalty today.
Yeah.
That's what he was given for changing the parts after his crash yesterday. He had a horrendous day yesterday. It'd be lovely to see him get some points today in his Formula E swan song. Evans still not able to pass Jean-Eric Verne ahead of him. Sete Camera still in the points with that half of a Dragon Penske that's left.
Simsy's got a lot of energy. Oh, De Costa almost into the back of De Grassi. De Costa's got a lot more energy actually than De Grassi, so that fight will be interesting for 13th. Not that it really, I say it'll be interesting, not that it really necessarily means anything.
It'll just be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think De Grassi might have used a lot of energy catching back up to the pack after the pit stop.
Sims as Nato and Sete Camera in his sights. Here's a look at Da Costa and Di Grassi. Oh, so close.
Yeah, Da Costa was bailing out of that one. He thought, oh, I'm going to hit him, But did a good job of getting it all back under control. Oh, and now the onboard.
Whoa!
You could just see the tyres lock as they came off the brakes, trying to unlock them. No such problem for Edo Mortara.
Cassidy, Da Costa and Verne are under investigation for safety car procedure. So we'll keep an eye on that one. None of them are really in that much of a fight. Verne's in sixth.
We leave some energy in the car.
Whiskey, India, Mike, November.
Yeah, that's energy figures. He's repeating back to in a code back to the pits. Edo Mortara there, but you heard the engineer just telling him leave a little bit of energy in the car, just in case.
3.2 seconds ahead. Here's Mitch Evans running in 7th position. He's had a good drive, Mitch Evans, from 13th up into 7th. Sims has got Nato now, and his next target will be Sergio Sete Camera to try and get into 10th place to pick up a point for Mahindra, as Dennis and Van Dorn in 2nd and 3rd come back into the stadium section once more.
Yeah, just watching that onboard with Mitch Evans, it looks like he is fighting the back tyres of the car. Every time he was sort of in the corner entry, he'd have to catch a bit of oversteer, back to throttle. The car was rotating a little bit too much, so maybe just the setup not allowing him to look after those rear tyres.
20 seconds plus a lap to go. 5-second time penalty for Jake Dennis for causing a collision with Antonio Felix da Costa at turn 22. It's a tough one.
That is a tough penalty. I mean, the amount of contact you see in a Formula E race, and I think the contact was almost incidental. But if you're Antonio Felix da Costa, I'm sure you would see things the other way.
Added time has now been, well, added. So we've got 6 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock, plus a lap.
A lock up there from Stoffel Van Dorn going into turn 22.
So at the moment, 5 seconds for Dennis would put him 8th.
What does that do to Teams Championship?
And here comes Da Costa on Nato. And Turvey, hey, that's a cheeky one.
Oh.
Gets it through, Oliver Turvey.
Opportunistic or what from Oliver Turvey in the blue and red and blue Neo.
That looked like a one-way ticket to Crashtown initially, but he managed to sneak through on the inside. So that would drop Evans, that would push Evans up into 6th place, but it wouldn't make a huge amount of difference in the championship fight. But I don't know. I see why they've given it, because there was contact, but I don't know, not for me. This was Da Costa's move on Nato.
Lovely overtaken move there from Da Costa. Yeah, I think if you could say there was no contact in a Formula E race, you'd say, yeah, okay, that's a fair penalty. But the fact is, every corner.
Well, also, Da Costa was the one making the overtake. Dennis is allowed to cover the inside, and he's got to be given some space. I don't know. I get that he left his nose in a little bit, but
it wasn't like he missed the apex. He was on the apex.
Yeah, there is. I believe there is such a thing as a racing incident.
Yeah, personally. I do, and I hate to sort of. It's almost like a cop out with that. I think was with Dennis, that just was on the apex of the corner.
I think racing incident isn't a cop out. I think it is. I think it is a decision.
Sometimes it actually is.
Yeah, 5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Dennis in 2nd, Van Dorn 3rd, Freitz 4th, Askew 5th, Verne, Evans, Cassidy, Buemi and Sete Camera, the rest of the top 10. Sims is closing in on Sete Camera. He took 4 tenths out of him on the last lap.
And Sims is using that extra energy that he had in the bank. He's really ripping through it now. He's almost at level with those around about him, where he's 4% up, which is almost, it's over a lap.
Now here's a look at it again. The penalty for Dennis. To me, Da Costa goes to the outside, and that's fine. And Da Costa's Dennis, he's getting overtaken, so he's allowed to stay in there, and then he's just given nowhere to. He's right up on the curb.
Dennis was.
He can't just disappear.
No, I hate. Yeah, again, Jack. I hate to say it. I agree with you. Now watch the right front.
Where's he meant?
The car we're running on.
Where's he meant to go?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
You know, it's the corner's tight.
Yeah.
But I think the problem was, as I said, that Da Costa had left-hand lock on to catch the slide, and then the car put him in the wall. So harsh penalty for Jake Dennis, but we're not the ones making the We're making the rules.
No, so Dennis running in second place. Now, this would drop him down to, well, if he got it now, he would be 7.5 seconds back, so he'd come out in 6th place.
He's pushing hard now, isn't he? Jake Dennis,
Exactly.
23.1, he's really going for it. But Edo Mortara's just gone 4/10 quicker on that lap. Mortara is using a different track than everybody else today.
He used fan boost on that last lap, which would give him a bit of a boost in the first sector, but still, rapid pace here from Mortara, 2.5 seconds clear, 3 minutes and 20 seconds, plus 1 lap to go.
Just a mighty performance. He's just on it today, Edo Mortara.
Van Dorn would win the championship as it stands with what would ultimately be a second place finish with Freitz in 3rd. And Stoffel Van Dorn now just 3 minutes plus 1 lap away from winning the FormulaE World Championship after a hard-fought season.
Longest 3 minutes of his life. That's when you can start hearing all the noises.
This is how the team's championship would finish. Mercedes EQ champions in both categories again. Da Costa's just got ahead of Alexander Sims, and this is how. Oh, De Grassi got ahead of Sims, and then Da Costa yoinked it up the inside as well.
And Sims have an issue because, again, he was coming forward in a hurry, and he's gone from 11th back to 13th quickly.
Yeah, he lost 2 seconds in the middle sector, but that was probably just being overtaken. Evans is on his
Da Costa
fan boost.
all over the back of De Grassi.
Goes to the inside, Da Costa. Through he goes.
He's really good on the brakes. Everybody else is struggling to make any kind of overlap on the brakes into 22. Not so much Antonio Felix Da Costa.
Well, brakes is the thing he wants confidence in the most, and I'm led to believe that he kind of swapped his brake discs around this morning. They put a new set on, and he said, okay, but I'll keep one side of the front disc and not the other side. I'll have the front left back from yesterday, or really picking and choosing exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, Mitch Evans did the same. They changed brakes this morning and then went back for qualifying. Such a feel thing with the brake pedal. If you don't have confidence in the brakes, you can't make the overtake, but also the rest of the corner is an adventure for you. So you've got to get the braking right.
1.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Eduardo Mortara.
On board with Oliver Askew. P5 at the moment, maybe even P4 for him. This is a great drive for Askew, who's looking for a drive for next year. He certainly hasn't been confirmed by the Andretti team, put it that way.
2 to go at the end of this lap. And Freitz is under quite a bit of pressure here, isn't he?
He is, as Askew locks up, goes a bit wide on the exit 22.
2.3.
That's Van Dorn being told Dennis is 2.3 seconds ahead. Freitz is 2.3 seconds back with 45 seconds plus 1 lap to go. And Dennis is really trying to build that advantage, isn't he? Sergio Sedicamera is another driver who's been given a time penalty for repeated changes of direction at turn 1 with Norman Nato. As the championship stands, Van Dorn would win the championship. Dennis probably wouldn't get up to 5th after the 5-second time penalty is awarded. As Van Dorn emerges once again. Turned 30 this year, Stoffel Van Dorn, and really has put in a masterful season. And is Ian James about to secure back-to-back titles in back-to-back years?
I think Ian James has aged 30 years in the last day and a half.
He doesn't look that bad.
I'm not saying visually, just with a stress level.
Very rude, Dario. James Barkley, the boss of the Jaguar TCS racing team, has seen his man climb up through the field, but not able to make as much progress as they would have wanted and would have loved in order to wrap up the title, because Van Dorn would win it. Evans second, Mortara in 3rd spot. Final lap of the race now for Stoffel Van Dorn, and it looks as though it'll be a 2nd place finish at the end of this. Dennis might be able to get on the podium still here. He might only lose 1 place because he's managed to... The gap to Robin Freitz right now is 4.9 seconds. So that's going to be a tight one to see who gets 3rd position. At the moment, it would be Mortara winning, Van Dorn 2nd, Dennis 3rd. But all of that is irrelevant. 3rd or 2nd doesn't matter for Stoffel Van Dorn. scored points in every race so far this season, bar Mexico City, where a collision sent him spinning out. Won the iconic Monaco race in superb style earlier this year, and now the Belgian only has a few more corners to go. Edoardo Mortara is going to be the man who wins for the Rocket Venturi team. Here comes the Italian-Swiss racer. He's about to win for the 4th time this season. Superb drive from Mortara. He wins for the 4th time this year, but it's Stoffel Vandoorne out of the final corner. Stoffel Vandoorne is the world champion. Vandoorne wins for Mercedes EQ, and they wrap up the team's championship. Double championship victory for Mercedes EQ. They won it last year with Nick de Vries, the drivers.
Well done, champ.
Yes, boys.
World champion!
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Vandoorne told me on Thursday this would be the biggest championship win of his life. And he's come through and delivered it on Sunday in Seoul.
Okay, attention all teams, this is race control. Just like yesterday, I'd like the top 3 cars, car 48, car 5, and car 27, to take an extra lap and then go into the infield and take a right at turn 9 for the podium. So one more lap.
Stoffel, it's Dario on TV. Congratulations, you are a world champion.
Thanks, Dario. Wow. I'm speechless. This is amazing. What a season it's been. Thank you, guys.
Well done to you. Well done to the Mercedes EQ team. So well deserved.
Stoffel Vandoorne, the world champion. Mercedes EQ, the team's champions again.
What a way to sign off from Formula E for Mercedes.
Mercedes next year becoming McLaren, with Maserati joining the series as well for season 9 and the brand new generation of Formula E car. But Danko Mercedes is the message on the top of Vandoorne's helmet. And here comes Mitch Evans pulling up alongside Stoffel Vandoorne, gives him a thumbs up and a round of applause. Oh, thought they were going to shunt for a moment, which would have been a fun way to end the year. But that's great to see, great camaraderie between them. Great year for Venturi, a great win for Venturi as well. That's Cyril Blaise, who was just having a little chat with Delphine Biscay as they see Edoardo Mortara win again. 4th win of the season, the driver with the most wins this year, Edoardo Mortara. But he's also had 5 races where he hasn't scored points, and there is the disappointment at Jaguar. Unable to bring home the title for Mitch Evans. And it was a long shot coming into the weekend.
3 race wins. They put up a heck of a fight, didn't they?
2 in Rome, a win yesterday. Nick de Vries out of the race early on, and he's contributed to the team's championship title.
Nice that the driver's got another lap. I know it was all for sort of logistical purposes, but give Stoffel Vandoorne a chance to really just soak it all in a little bit before he goes up onto the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. What are those in-laps like when you've won a championship?
I admit to having, certainly a couple of times, having big emotional moment, bit of some tears.
Yeah.
And then it's a feeling of such elation, I think, and just, yeah, all the things that go through your head. It's really incredible. I always found it was too much to take in what was going on.
Like overwhelming?
And, yeah, just completely overwhelming, and then it would sort of hit you weeks and sometimes months later. I think I said to you before, I remember being in the Outback riding the motorbike. That's when it finally hit me.
Yeah. Remarkable stuff.
It's just fantastic. Such tight competition in Formula E, so just to come out and win the World Championship, it's a heck of an achievement.
2nd in the opening race of the season in Diriyah. 7th in the second race for Van Dorn, and then spun out in Mexico City. Solid weekend in Rome. He was disappointed actually with both races in Rome, finishing 3rd and 5th. But then the win in Monaco started a great run of form, with then 2 third places in Berlin, held the championship lead. Then maybe a bit of a dodgy-ish patch. 5th in Jakarta, 8th in Marrakesh, but a 2nd place in New York, 2nd place in London, and a 2nd place here as well. Fair play, Jake Dennis. 5-second time penalty, but still managed to pull out enough of a gap to finish on the podium, as the cars now come onto the 100-meter sprint line of the 1988 Seoul Olympics.
Which is like a really cool piece of history in itself.
Yeah, there it is. And Van Dorn waving to the crowd.
Mortara just did a lovely spin turn. His own parking spot.
Yeah, perfect. Can't be doing burnouts on the 100 meter.
Yeah, that would be disrespectful. Mortara's not the best at parking, is he? But I tell you what, he can drive a racing car.
Dennis straight over to congratulate Stoffel Van Dorn. Mortara the race winner, and ends up 3rd in the championship. But Stoffel Van Dorn, world champion in Formula E. Agag, the founder of Formula E. Over for a celebration. You can do anything, Stoffel Van Dorn.
You can be able to take that hand luggage. Yeah. Very good.
And when the team arrive, it is going to kick off on the podium. There's no doubt about that. Here they are. Speaking to a mechanic the other day who said the amount of times he's been smashed in the head by a driver with their helmet still on really hurts, apparently. And the drivers jump into the crowd. Dennis looks warm.
I think it'll be a physical race today, as humid as it was.
Dennis did get up into 6th in the championship, then level on points with Lucas de Grassi, but Van Dorn is the champion. Evans in 2nd, Mortara 3rd, Verne in 4th. And once, as I say, once the Mercedes EQ team make their way to the pit lane, it's going to be very, very busy. And a lot of celebrations, I think, will commence tonight for Stoffel Van Dorn.
I think the relief right now is probably the first thing, isn't it? He's been, he's had that frown on his forehead, just concentrate, just a little stressed.
Teams Championship, Mercedes EQ, the winners there as well. Great year for Rocket Venturi Racing, finishing in 2nd. Fiesta Cheetah 3rd, Andretti up into 6th place at the end. Thanks to Dennis's great run of form, but also Oliver Askew really getting into the swing of things towards the end.
Nice 5th place finish for him here today.
Van Dorn will be receiving the championship trophy later on the podium, and then the prize giving tonight as well.
As hosted by Jack Nicholls.
Yeah.
I'll come and laugh at your jokes, Jack, don't worry.
Okay, thank you. I tend not to do jokes. I'm not a very funny guy. Stoffel Van Dorn, world champion of season 8 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. So let's hear from the Belgian speaking to Nicky Shields after clinching the world title.
Well, Stoffel Van Dorn for Mercedes EQ, it gives me great pleasure to say you are Season 8 Formula E World Champion. Just describe the emotions.
World Champions, wow. It's just the best feeling ever. You know, just look at the season we've had, the consistency. Car has been amazing, and the team has done an amazing job. And yeah, I think every single one of us deserves this. So what we've accomplished is something special.
It hasn't been easy. There have been some really strong competitors. Mitch Evans right on your tail up until today's race.
Yeah, he's pushed me all the way along. Same with Edo. They've, you know, they were there all the time, and it was really about the consistency in the end. You know, they all have more wins than me, but I've got the most podiums, I think.
And what was going through your mind during the course of that race? Could you allow yourself to think about actually becoming world champion?
It was difficult to focus because, you know, the pace at the end was so high. I knew Jake had a 5-second penalty, so I had to kind of stay close enough to him to be able to secure P2. So yeah, it was an awesome day. A lot of concentration. I'm drained after this year. It's been a lot of effort. The effort I've put in, the team put in, is incredible.
Well, you've given us a huge amount of enjoyment to watch your competitive drive over the course of the season. So huge congratulations to Stoffel Vandoorne, our world champion.
So, great performance from Stoffel Vandoorne, finishing in second position in the race. But yeah, he made a good point actually. 8 podium finishes for Stoffel Vandoorne, which is a new record. In a season.
Yeah.
Lucas de Grassi scored 7 in seasons 2, 3 and 4. Now, to be fair to de Grassi, there were less races in those days, which I'm sure he will remind everyone. But still a superb performance from Vandoorne. And what a drive today from Eduardo Mortara. What a wonderful way to end the season. I think he's going to be a happy man. Here he is.
Eduardo Mortara, huge congratulations. Today's race winner, 3rd in the Drivers' Championship and 2nd in the Teams' Championship. What an achievement.
Yeah, I mean, day was extremely positive. I still feel extremely frustrated because we didn't manage actually to score any points in the last 2 race weekends, and it's still in me. I've got so much frustration from that, and but I'm so thankful, you know, for the team for giving me such a strong car with a fantastic season, and to finish like this, it's yeah, this is really what I needed and what they needed.
And today you had a fantastic race. You know, you took control from the very start, taking first from Antonio Felix Cossa, and then you didn't look back.
Yeah, I mean, we are normally better racers than we are qualifiers, and I knew that if I could manage to take the lead, we're normally pretty good in managing the races, and from the front, it also helped us managing the temperatures, which were extremely hot, as you can see. And yeah, great day.
We're all feeling the heat for sure. Congratulations and enjoy the celebrations. Eduardo Mortara, today's race winner.